Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. The economy, it doesn't seem to be looking good around the world, huh? And as countries try to recover from how the pandemic has battered their economies, a litany of problems is making it worse. There's the Russia-Ukraine war, food and energy prices are soaring. Then there are supply chain issues, debt crises in a number of countries, and, of course, inflation. That last one is something the world's largest economy is trying to rein in right now. Soaring consumer prices is the reason why the U.S. Federal Reserve has increased its benchmark interest rate by 75 basis points. That's the U.S.'s biggest rate hike in almost 30 years. Yup, it's a big deal.
Fed likes to keep inflation at about 2%. Right now, inflation is at 8.6%, which is way too high. So these small hammers represent small interest rate hikes. And then we have the mallet to represent a major interest rate hike. So they don't drive us into a recession. The Fed has been using this 0.5% interest rate hammer, tapping on inflation, trying to get it down. But since they've used this hammer in March and May, it's done almost nothing to get this inflation under control. So today, they used this slightly bigger hammer, 0.75%, and they're tapping just a little bit harder on it to try and get it under control. They've got to use these small hammers first in the hopes of gradually getting inflation to come down. The Federal Reserve can't just take the mallet to inflation in one fell swoop, because that'll definitely send the economy into a recession.
What does the Fed rate hike mean for ordinary Americans, though? Well, it's bye-bye to low-interest mortgages, while credit card rates and car loan fees rise as the government tries to reduce public spending. Authorities say the policy change is for the greater good and will ensure economic stability in the long term. But many Americans aren't happy with how it'll hit their pockets.
Buying a house will be less affordable. Buying a car will be less affordable. Funding your business is going to be more difficult. This is going to hurt the economy a lot in the short term. A lot of layoffs, a lot of people are going to get fired.
Joe Biden says that we're in a strong economy, that we're doing great. Do you believe that?
No. Ain't no comfortability around nowhere. It really hurts America with the gas prices.
Rent prices is crazy. We paying, I don't know how much percent more, but I would say at least three or 400 more than we was paying 2 years ago.
Working class people are still struggling to pay their rent or mortgage. They're still living paycheck to paycheck, and the jobs they work have virtually no benefit.
And globally, the aggressive rate increase has already had a ripple effect, with some central banks already following suit. That's a big change to global economic policies, as businesses and households have enjoyed years of low borrowing costs.
There's going to be economic consequences here. I think the bigger question is, when you unpack inflation, what you continually see right now is that the biggest driver of inflation everywhere is energy prices and how it's flowing through the economy. So even as goods prices are going up, they're really driven by higher energy prices.
Also in crisis are the crypto and NFT markets. That's according to Bill Gates, at least. The Microsoft founder was actually speaking about the climate crisis at a TechCrunch conference when he was asked about the digital market. Gates says the entire market is based on the greater fool theory, meaning the initial buyer is a fool, and the only way for investors to make a profit is for a bigger fool to buy it from them.
I mean, obviously, expensive, digital images of monkeys are going to improve the world immensely. I'm used to asset classes where, like a farm, where they have output, or a company where they make products. To have an asset class that's 100% based on sort of greater fool theory, that somebody's going to pay more for it than I do, and where it has at its heart sort of this anonymity that, you avoid taxation or any sort of, government rules about kidnapping fees or things. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not involved in that. I'm not long or short any of those things.
Okay, this isn't the first time Bill Gates has criticized NFTs and crypto. He previously warned people, as in us ordinary folk who aren't billionaires, not to invest in cryptocurrencies. And the billionaire turned humanitarian wasn't way off when he said that. Digital currencies have been plummeting and crypto firms are struggling. But some netizens are still not convinced by his comments. This one thinks Gates is not seeing the big picture.
It's 100% a risky investment, but I would assume someone like Bill can see the future of NFTs. The whole Web3 space, NFTs, crypto, metaverse, is the future of social media getting built in front of our eyes. These silly pictures of monkeys are tied to the identity of people spending money on them. It's honestly not about the JPEG. Maybe people are coming together because of the money. This is obviously a big part of it. Maybe it's the art, maybe it's the tech, but the point is that people are participating in these communities and having these conversations and creating change slowly. For some reason, when your money is on the line and when your reputation is on the line, you find the need to contribute and spread the love for your own NFT community that you belong to. I agree that a lot of NFT and crypto projects are garbage and pure cash grabs. This space is clearly not mature yet, but that is the exact reason why I feel like educating people on the space is such an important idea to help people understand and sort out the space instead of dismissing the space as a whole.
Okay, question. Do you also think that our digital spaces are becoming more and more similar? It's like there's almost no way to differentiate one social media platform from another. And everyone's latest obsession, short-form video content. From initially being maligned as a cringy platform, TikTok is now cool.
Check out this Instagram reel. Wow, that's hilarious. Do you not think it's funny? It is. I just saw it 3 months ago. Where'd you see it? On TikTok, where all the reels come from. Just get on TikTok. It's a children's app. TikTok is where all the good stuff is.
First, it was Meta introducing Instagram Reels to steal a bit of TikTok's thunder. Then it brought Reels over to Facebook. So what? Meta loves copy-pasting features to its various apps. And let's face it, Facebook is the boomer of all the platforms. It needs a bit of an update to stay relevant. But things started to get interesting when YouTube joined the game with its Shorts. Shorts is fast becoming the next big thing. 1.5 billion logged-in users watch Shorts every month. That's 500 million more than TikTok had when it last announced its figures back in September. This may be only natural considering YouTube is the go-to video sharing platform. But what's the appeal of Shorts over Reels or TikTok?
On Instagram Reels, the content is going to take off much faster, but could also die off much faster. It's very common to post a video within 15 seconds, have 2,000 to 5,000 views on that video, but not get any more. If they pump out the content to a large group of people and it performs well, you'll continue to see that content take off. On TikTok, it can take up to 6 hours before your TikTok video will actually get some traction, but when it does, they'll do the same thing. They'll show it to broader audiences. If it performs well, they'll continue to show it out to more and more people, oftentimes people that are not your followers. On YouTube Shorts, however, it can take much longer, up to 12 to 24 hours for your video to actually take off, but the shelf life on a short is much, much longer. It continues to get views for months into the future, and they typically show it to your core audience first, your subscribers, and then boost it out to a much larger audience.
Meanwhile, Nigeria has told social media platforms that they have to open local offices to continue operating. The likes of Twitter, Meta, and TikTok will be required to register and appoint contact persons with the government in a bid to curb online abuse. Fidelis Mba has been gauging the public mood.
The government is saying this directive is meant to ensure that there's peace because the country has witnessed a whole lot of insecurity in recent years, and they don't want the use of social media in terms of either abusing people online or trying to cause disaffection. So they're saying that that's why they took this decision. But guess what? People are actually not happy because there have been a whole lot of reactions. People are saying that this government came into power in 2015 by the use of social media, because before now, the previous government had been in office for, several years, and the opposition needed to take over power, and they employed the use of social media. So they are now saying that if you use social media to come into power, why now are you turning around to use, more like to gag people from the use of social media? Because they feel that these regulations, these new regulations or directive to social media companies is also an attempt by government to muzzle up press freedom, to muzzle up free speech, to muzzle up people who are opposed to what government has been doing in recent times. And, because in June of 2021, Twitter was banned for several months, and people cried, people shouted, people, tried to more like campaign against the government's, use of what they felt was a government use of arbitrary force to force Twitter off the internet in Nigeria. And now they're saying that, Twitter has complied by opening a physical office, by also complying to some of the rules that they've set for Twitter. and now extended it to every other platform. People are now a bit worried. There's been an outrage on social media. People are not happy because this is just a few months to elections, and people use social media to either vent their frustration or to, more like talk about the things that government has done which they're not happy with, or to campaign for the opposition. So people somehow are feeling that there's an attempt to disenfranchise people, there's an attempt to suppress votes, there's an attempt to also make the people not more like willingly express their voices ahead of the election.
A viral Twitter thread has sparked debate over safety while staying at Airbnbs. A Twitter user shared a chilling discovery that she and a friend found over 10 hidden cameras in a Philadelphia Airbnb. Some were even hidden in the showers and bathrooms. She shared this video on TikTok.
This video is at our arrival at about 7:30 p.m. And, I just took a regular video and I captured the camera in this video and I didn't even notice. The camera is right above the couch on the ceiling. It was very creepy. We were absolutely creeped out when we saw this. It seems like they try to hide it, but I don't know. That just looks weird. It's just a hole in the ceiling. We discovered that the sprinklers had camera lens. We got on the chair, on stools, and we did a flash test on these sprinklers, and they are cameras.
Of course, messages of support flooded in initially, but not everyone was convinced. Many netizens pointed out that the sprinklers in question looked just like regular ones, nothing suspicious. Since then, this reporter also confirmed she's spoken to local police who said they've investigated the property and found no cameras. And although this claim turned out to be false, many Airbnb users say they had similar experiences. This viral TikTok explains security measures you can take on your next visit.
Now the first thing you're going to want to look for is devices that are conveniently placed where a creeper would want to look. Take this fire alarm for instance, it's placed right above the bed. Now one way to see if a device is a camera is to shine a bright light at it. If you hit a camera lens, it's going to give a bluish reflection. Now you can test this by shining a light at your phone and seeing how the camera looks when placed under a flashlight. Now this clock is mirrored, but if we shine a bright light at it, we can see through the glass and see there's a camera there. Now this technique can also work on two-way mirrors. So the camera is USB powered and the wall charger it's plugged into is actually also a camera. If we shine the light on it, you can see that little pinhole in the middle with the blue reflection. That is the camera lens.
All right, on to what's trending. One of the most prestigious literary awards, the Women's Prize for Fiction, has picked this year's winner. American-Canadian writer Ruth Ozeki won with her novel, The Book of Form and Emptiness. The judges said it stood out for its warmth, intelligence, and humor. It tells the story of 14-year-old Benny O. After the death of his father, he starts hearing strange voices around the house, so he retreats to a library to find silence and calm. The novelist, who is also a Zen Buddhist priest, picked up a check for over $35,000 for winning the top award.
I think the Women's Prize for Fiction is important because it amplifies women's voices, and I think now, at this time in the planet's history, when we're facing so many challenges, environmentally, ideologically, in so many ways, women's voices are really important.
Congrats to Ruth Ozeki. Now, our next story, according to Forbes, James Patterson is America's richest author. Now he's had to apologize for saying white male writers face racism during an interview earlier this week. He tweeted, "I absolutely do not believe that racism is practiced against white writers. Please know that I strongly support a diversity of voices being heard in literature, in Hollywood, everywhere." Patterson has a net worth of $80 million and is a New York Times bestseller several times over. Writers who have been victims of racism took to TikTok to express their anger.
I am a writer. I wrote a young adult Black romance. It's got time travel in it. And if you can find 3 other Black romances on the shelves at your local Barnes and Noble, I'd be a millionaire. Make me a millionaire. I'd be a unicorn, because you can't, because it doesn't exist yet. And yet he has room to be concerned. The brazenness, the boldness, the whining.
Warner Brothers has released the first pictures from its upcoming Barbie film. Here's Margot Robbie as Barbie, and here's Ryan Gosling as Ken. Yes, you are right to reach for your phone to check Twitter. It's hilarious. The 41-year-old actor's rather plastic look is being mocked on every corner of Twitter. The film will be released next year, and not much is known about the plot, although director Greta Gerwig has been known to exceed expectations with other projects. However, as you can see from these tweets and memes, people definitely did not expect this. And that brings us to the end of today's news feed. You can find this show on our YouTube channel, which is Newsfeed TRT World. And do subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and let us know what stories you came to see on our show. Bye, and see you same time tomorrow.